Southern California, yeah.
Born and raised our DNA. Laugh and cry to what we say. We hit you with that wordplay.
4053.
What episode are we on? D, they feeling like they be zombies, all dressed in Abercrombie.
SoCal DNA coming in live. 8 o'clock on a Wednesday night. COVID got you sitting inside. Why not sip one and free your mind?
Cheap thrills, popping pills, stack cash, spend it fast.
Listen to all of Tonk's lies as Arjun act like he's surprised.
Oh, it has been so long. I was getting used to fading it out, and I remembered now I don't have to do that anymore. I don't have to fade it out.
I know.
We did some moves, man.
We have made some moves, and we've also not made some moves too. And I gotta apologize to the fans out there. I know you guys were all in your humble abodes and Thanksgiving weekend, looking forward, counting the days, counting the hours, the minutes, the seconds for the SoCal DNA episode to drop, the flagship episode that we drop every week. And alas, Wednesday went by, Thursday went by, Friday went by too.
Yeah.
And there was
turkey hangover on that Friday. So you gotta
the tryptophan was real. The tryptophan was real.
Let that one slide. Let one of the days slide.
We're gonna let that one slide, but I gotta be honest with the audience because our fans deserve the truth, right, Tom? The fans can't be lied to. The fans can never be lied to, and we're gonna make it up to you guys.
Whoa!
I'm not gonna tell you how. Well, we have collective discourse with SoCal DNA. Okay. It's never just one responsible party. It's both people. But we may make it up to you by the end of the year with a little something special. Okay. We're not going to say what. We're not going to say when.
I don't even know what it is.
Yeah, and quite frankly, I'm still kind of formulating the thought in my mind. But don't you worry, fans. We know you're looking forward to it, and I know for some people out there, we're actually the number one. Believe it or not, Doug, we're actually the number one podcast some people listen to.
Well, I mean, are you surprised?
I am actually.
God damn it!
I am. But no, actually, I appreciate our fans, our longtime listeners, all the way from our YouTube days when we were just on YouTube.
When we were wee little boys.
When we were wee little boys. Yeah. Back in those days, we didn't even know what we could do on Spotify. We didn't even know if Spotify was possible.
Oh yeah, and we didn't even know about Anchor or anything of that sort.
Anything at all. So we were newbies for sure, but you guys, the day ones, you stuck it out with us through thick and thin, through episodes on every day or every weekly basis, by the way, versus even sometimes when we forget about the Wednesday and we move to a Friday. You've always been there for us. And it's only right that we reward you with a little something from Santa, aka the D and the A, before the end of the year. So look out for that. That's a little teaser. That's going to be part of the intro right here. A little bit of a teaser for next time. But something that was teased a little bit earlier today for me through a text message was about the NBA. And obviously, Don and I are super excited about the season coming back. It's going to start in about 20 days, I believe, on December 22nd.
Oh, my God. It's December already.
It's December already. Can you believe that?
Oh, my God.
I know. Birthdays are coming. Holidays are coming. And the NBA is coming as well. But Don, who won't be coming to James Harden's Christmas party?
Anthony Cummings?
Oh, no, not Anthony. Well, he definitely won't be coming. but beyond Anthony Cummings, Russell Westbrook is no longer going to be part of the Houston Rockets.
Oh, wow.
And this was the major blockbuster trade that dropped just hours ago. So the Houston Rockets have traded Russell Westbrook to the Washington Wizards for, drum roll please, John Wall. There you go. John Wall. That's right.
And I believe a draft pick.
And a draft pick, which could be inconsequential, or maybe it might be a great pick. I don't know. But the core of this, point guard for point guard, all-star point guard for all-star point guard. What is your immediate reaction to this trade? What does your gut say?
It's not point guard for point guard or all-star for all-star right now. John Wall, as great of a player he is, during his prime, when we've last seen him play, is amazing. Key word there is when we last saw him play. This was back in maybe January of 2019? Maybe even before that? John Wall hurt himself. I believe he messed up his knee back with that initial injury in 2019. And then upon rehab, went on and fucked up his Achilles or something else while rehabbing. I think he was just, walking around the house, having maybe one too many beverages, as I do. Slipped, fell, and popped something. So from there, it prolonged that injury that is usually easy to recover from.
And I just want to add a little bit more color. So looking at this article here from ESPN, Wall actually hasn't played since 2018.
Yeah. So
that's wild. That is wild. Wow.
It's crazy that there is that much, I guess, love for him in Houston to make the trade. However, on the other side of the coin, looking at it through Houston's eyes, Westbrook wanted out. It was a failed experiment, similar to when they had paired Chris Paul with Harden.
I disagree.
Well,
I disagree.
No. Well, okay, maybe not that one. All right, it was a failed experiment to put together Russell Westbrook and Harden.
Agree. Sure.
Okay.
Yes. As Don clears his throat of the COVID, let me just say,
hey, we're negative. We're negative.
I like how guttural you went for that one. We're negative.
Oh no, because there was still something coming out, and I was like negative. Belted it out.
Jesus. Oh man, Don, bless your soul. Bless your soul. Maybe have some more of that medicinal rye. I think that may cure whatever's happening to you.
Yeah.
But my first reaction was poor Bradley Beal. That was my first reaction. You know why? Because Bradley Beal, he thought this was going to be his team. He signed that huge contract. He knew that the franchise was gravitating away from John Wall, going towards himself. But now you get the one guy in the NBA who was an MVP for doing what? Doing everything himself on the team. 30-point triple-double, right? Assists, rebounds, steals, threes now.
Mr. Triple-double.
Yeah. And so now I feel bad for Beal because I think it should have been Beal's team. He should have been the clear leader of the team. But now when you put Westbrook in there, I don't think Westbrook respects Beal the same way that he did Harden. I don't think Westbrook respects Beal the same way that he did even KD.
I don't think Westbrook respects anybody.
I think he respected Kobe.
Well, sure. But of today's guards, he thinks he's number one, as every guard should of that caliber.
Well, I would argue that if you put Westbrook with LeBron James, I think Westbrook would defer to LeBron on ball handling responsibilities, effectively making him the lead guard. And that may be true for almost anybody you pair with LeBron. LeBron has that kind of leadership ability, and the Lakers certainly believe that he has that leadership ability because the Lakers signed him to an extension.
This is why you brought him.
Yeah, exactly.
I was making the connection. I was a little slow.
There you go. There's your grandpappy nappy working for you right there. I gotta find that whiskey, by the way. It's a very rare whiskey.
Very rare. If you could buy it for me, I would love you.
I don't even know where to look. I went to the website yesterday to look up your grandpappy nappy whiskey, but it was like $300 or something.
Yeah.
And, but they didn't even have a link to buy it. It was like, okay, cool.
Yeah, you got to be careful. A little segue. You got to be a little careful with it because there's a lot of counterfeits out there that are using the older bottles, and they're just filling it with, little low shelf whiskey and then selling it. Just like get it mechanically sealed again and selling it. So be careful with that.
It is a good idea to be careful, especially with these older bottles. But with LeBron James being an older player in the NBA, we don't have to be very careful with him. I think he is built to last, and he will last for sure for at least another couple of years with the Los Angeles Lakers, because that's right, ladies and gentlemen. He has signed an extension. He is going to be a Laker for at least until 2022, it appears.
22-23 season, yeah.
22-23 season, that's right. And I think the extension was for about 45 or 40 mil per year, which may have been the maximum for him, give or take.
I think it was 85 over 2.
85 over 2, there you go. And I think this all but assures Anthony Davis will remain a Laker. and he may sign some kind of a short-term deal, just like LeBron did, just to kind of sync up the contracts.
Sure.
But I think personally, you know, it is the right move for the franchise. You have to reward the guy for two reasons. Number one, the fact that he did deliver a championship for you. And number two, the fact that he's still playing at a high level and he deserves the money. He certainly does deserve the money.
He's maturing like a fine wine or a fine bourbon. Getting
There
smoother,
you go.
getting smoother with his play.
There you
true
go.
leader.
As you know, for Kobe, he would refer to himself as vino, right? Aging like fine wine. But for LeBron, he may be more of a brown liqueur. He may be more of a whiskey or a bourbon.
Oh, he's
Perhaps
definitely a
from-
bourbon. He's
He's
definitely,
definitely
a
a
bourbon.
bourbon.
Has a
There
bite.
you-
Has a bite. Acquired taste. Acquired taste.
you
Hated by many, but loved and respected by pretty much everyone deep down inside. So,
It's an accurate portrayal of LeBron James, as well as many whiskeys that you enjoy.
oh yeah, mostly
there
hate.
you are.
Mostly hate.
Mostly,
But, you know.
mostly. So, going back to Westbrook now,
Sure.
I think
Yeah. What do you think about the trade?
the Wizards are now a potential playoff team. So
Oh,
this
yeah.
does
On the
this
East.
does benefit the Wizards at the very minimum. I worry about chemistry issues, of course, as I always
Sure.
do with any team with Westbrook on it. But now looking at the flip side, I just have to say, I am very intrigued by the pairing of Wall and Harden. For number one reason, I think Wall may be best suited as a playmaker out
Yeah.
of all of his skills.
Yeah.
I look at his scoring, I look at his rebounding, his defense, and all that. I think he's just a born playmaker, a really good
Yeah.
one at that, too. So, what do we have here? We basically have an approximation of Chris Paul's playmaking. Not
Sure.
quite the same style,
Sure.
but
sure.
approximation.
Nor the same
along
level
with-
of skill. Yeah.
That's true. And along with Westbrook's athleticism and maybe lack of three-point shooting in general.
Sure.
So I just wonder, is this good for the Rockets? Like, does this actually make the Rockets a better team? I don't know. I feel like
think it does.
no, it doesn't.
I
You
think
think
it
it
does.
does?
Yeah, because if there's a draft pick included, that's one.
It's
notion.
lottery protected. I just
Okay,
checked. It's
okay.
lottery protected.
All right, so we'll bypass that. The chemistry was already messed up to begin with.
But
Harden,
dude, imagine what you're just saying. Imagine what you're saying. Westbrook and Harden were actually friends, dude.
which I get, but then what is that? Is it the organization that is the issue? Is it
It's
Harden?
Westbrook.
Or
It's
is it
Westbrook.
Yeah, we
It's
don't know.
100% Westbrook.
I
We
want to say
know.
100%. I want to say 100%. I mean, it all depends on what media outlet you're going to listen to. They're always going to make a story of it, and Westbrook is the easy scapegoat. What makes it difficult to counter that is, why did they basically revamp their whole front office?
See, that's an interesting point, and I'm glad you brought that up. For people that don't know,
I
Daryl Morey.
love that pause. I love that pause, by the way. That means I got you. Got him!
Yeah, no, it made me think. It made me think. So congratulations to the D.
Hell
That Pappy
Oh,
Nappy
yeah,
Rye is
it's
working.
slippery, but hard.
That's
Hard at sometimes right now. Like hard.
You made it a bit too obvious. All right? Calm your tits. Calm your tits. All right. All right. So yeah.
so
So
hard.
I
Hard in.
hard in.
That's
There
like
we
a
go.
Metapod.
There, was it you who told me that Harden looks like Metapod, or he reminds me of
I mean,
Metapod?
it does, because like if you put it at the right angle, his beard at the time.
No, it does. Yeah, no, absolutely. And I can't get that out of my head. Like, and especially because like Metapod's only move is Harden.
Strong move. Hey, it's just
Strong.
like Harden's step back, but he's got a little Euro step, so you know.
A little Euro in there for sure, for sure. I mean, look, I am excited about just the prospect of Wall coming back, but going to Daryl Morey for a second. Daryl Morey was credited to be kind of a revolutionary GM in the league. He was very much analytics driven. He would target players that maybe were underperforming on other teams, but he knew in the right offense with the right coach, that talent could be maximized. And he was good at that. I think the Rockets experienced a moderate level of success, coming very close to the finals. I think one time when they had Chris Paul and Harden together, they were within like one game, I think, of beating the Warriors that series. But alas, there were problems, right? I think they were never able to get quite past the hump. And for a franchise spending that much money, you would expect that they'd be closer to it. Number two, I wonder how much Daryl Morey's tweet had an impact on him being let go by the Rockets. The tweet I'm referring to, of course, is him expressing support for, I believe, Hong Kong at the time when they were protesting.
The other way around.
Other way meaning what?
I think he was supporting, not the independence of Hong Kong, more supporting China.
No, he was pro democracy, man. He was pro.
You sure? Whatever. I don't really care.
Okay, well, we'll go the other way around again, and we'll just say that yes, Daryl Morey sent out a tweet that was a little bit controversial, and I wonder how much that had to play a role in the decision making of whoever is the owner of the Rockets right now. And on top of that, I think even a bigger move would probably be letting go D'Antoni. They didn't re-up his contract. I've always liked D'Antoni ever since the Phoenix Suns days. I understood that his offense was a bit gimmicky, 7 seconds or less, and it was basically dominated by elite point guard like Steve Nash or later on Jeremy Lin, or even at the most recent case, James Harden. But I liked him. I thought that it was revolutionary to some extent. It was a type of offense that every other coach in the NBA, especially today, seems to steal from, at least some plays from. And he was never able to go to the finals, unfortunately. But I thought it was a perfect fit. I thought D'Antoni really enabled Harden to be as free and loose as possible and actually win an MVP and come close to finishing number one in like multiple seasons for MVP voting. So it's a shame that the franchise, as Don put it, is no longer what we knew about a year ago. D'Antoni's gone. Westbrook is gone. Capella's gone too. Shout out to Clint Capella, holding down the paint for all those years. He's gone, and the GM's gone too. So now we're thinking, is John Wall part of the new plan? Maybe the new front office there is thinking, you know what? Forget everything that Daryl Morey was teaching us. Forget his philosophy. We think a superstar like Wall coming back, this is exactly what we need to get on the right page. Do you think that's the emphasis here? Like just turning the new page with a new superstar player?
Well, it's definitely turning a new page given all the changes. I don't know if this trade, Westbrook for Wall, is going to dictate what their plans are. I don't know if they have a plan. I don't think they have a plan. They're just trying to survive and hold on to Harden. It may be an indicator to hand Harden the keys. They've let go of every big asset, notable asset, at least in the public eye, except for Harden. Now, officially, that they've let go of Westbrook. So, I want to say it's the beginning of a rebuild. But, as long as they have Harden and the superstar, or rather the star question mark in Wall, they're gonna compete. I don't know. Yeah, I feel bad for the Rockets, to be honest. It's kind of because they're screwed. Harden has 2 more years left in his contract, right? If the Rockets don't do something to please him, I would err on the side that he'll be more than likely to leave and join another team, because he'll be at that point where he's going to begin the decline of his prime in about 2 years. I think you could agree with that. He may be still playing at a very high level, but he's one injury away from that decline.
Well, injuries aside, I think that's a reasonable estimate.
Right. So
yeah,
I don't know. I don't think they were aggressive enough in shopping Westbrook around. But at the same time, Westbrook wasn't really an asset that people, sought out.
Well, look at it this way. I think with Westbrook, you have 2 options. Either you go star for star, which is what they did.
Sure. Or question mark star with the Wall, though. He's coming back from a damn injury.
I get it. I think you're being objective about it. I'm looking at it more in terms of the star name, right? I think, but it's kind of like this. Um, when Carmelo Anthony was actively playing, and not just like now where he plays like 20 minutes or whatnot, when he was really like a star,
Sure,
right?
sure. His
I
New
think
York days.
his New York days, he wasn't that great, to be perfectly honest. He was inefficient. He was a chucker, didn't play defense, but his star power was there. Even though he wasn't that great, his star
He
power was
sold
there.
tickets.
He sold tickets. I think John Wall, even a potentially out of shape, rusty, and who knows if he's still got that same pep in his step, you know? But I think that name carries some excitement. I think that name carries some optimism as well, because whenever you have a disgruntled player go from one team to another, it's like starting over. It's like a new chapter in a
Sure,
book.
sure, sure. Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely bringing in some new talent that's going to change the chemistry of the locker room, which I think was, the top of the list of reasons to make this happen. What the fuck was Washington thinking?
Well, it made sense to me because I think Wall was disgruntled. He didn't want to be there.
So it was basically they both wanted out, and
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you give them okay, all right.
So it kind of worked out in that regard, right? Like I think the
Well,
Rockets.
not really. You're trading one bad chemistry player for another bad chemistry player, or rather, disgruntled. Maybe it may not be chemistry. It just may be frustration with that particular organization. Maybe I don't know. We'll
Well,
see. Like, who would you
yeah,
still
I mean,
draft in the fantasy drafts that are coming up? Who's
great,
going
great,
first?
great.
Westbrook or Wall?
Well, easily Westbrook goes first for
Sure.
two reasons, right? Number one, Westbrook statistically, he's the better buy, right? I mean, he'll give you a
Sure.
little bit of everything. He's the triple double threat, regardless of what team he plays for. Number two, as you mentioned, Wall hasn't played in like 18 months. And
Yeah.
so it's difficult to expect him to put all-star caliber numbers from the jump. I would imagine he starts off the season with a minutes cap, probably 25 minutes a game. And maybe as we get closer to, I don't know, February, we'll see him
Yeah,
bump
after
up to
All Star
30.
break or something like that.
Yeah, and by the way, did you know there's no all-star game this year?
I mean, it makes sense given the brevity of the season already.
Yeah.
It sucks because I look forward to the All Star game, and I think that's like their Christmas week to celebrate
Sure, yeah.
the NBA and all that. But I get it. It's cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think with Wall, his injury was pretty bad for sure, but sometimes you just pick up injuries every now and then. You could be playing with your dog and all of a sudden you fracture your foot, which is exactly what happened to our president-elect, Joe Biden.
God damn it, man! We're getting somebody injured already, man. We hired him. He got hurt, and we're stuck with them for 4 years. I'm stuck with them. Yeah, at least he's gonna be sitting in that Oval Office making things happen. He's got nowhere to go. He can't walk anywhere. He can't run anywhere. It's gonna be planted. It's gonna be planted right there, making sure my loans get wiped. Hopefully.
That would be nice for sure. But unfortunately, we're still a couple of months away from him actually taking any step inside the White House. Um, he looks to be in good health regardless of the boot on his foot. But I just kind of wonder, man, like, do you think this is a sign of things to come? Like, do you think
No.
Biden will just pick up these little ticky-tack injuries every
No.
now and then and just be, like, put on the shelf?
Nah,
Or maybe
Secret
you don't think
Service
so?
is gonna be carrying him around everywhere, so we'll be good. We'll be good.
Well, like he'll be on a giant chair that's hoisted up by 4 Secret Service men, like those Rajas of old.
No, dude, I don't know if you watched like one of the first Kevin Hart stand-ups or specials where he was talking about LeBron and Shaq and how he made fun of how Shaq would fall, and LeBron would have to like run back to the offensive side of the court and basically pick his ass up, and then Shaq would be like, "Oh, I'm sorry." And LeBron's like, "God damn it, again, Shaq," because this was when he was getting older, right?
Sure.
I feel like it's the same thing that's going to happen with him and or Biden and Kamala. Biden's going to fall every now and then, and Kamala and the AOC are going to be like, "Oh, God damn it. All right, come on. And they'll pick him up, and then they'll carry him over the finish line a little bit whenever he needs it. Still a force to be reckoned with, right? Still a force. Just needs that little extra push every now and then.
I mean, to be reckoned with from a rocking chair, perhaps. But I noticed that you mentioned AOC.
Yeah.
Now, do you think the Democrats now have an obligation to kind of put AOC and the progressive wing of the Democratic Party more in the forefront because they've won this election? Or do you think they'll kind of remain moderate for the most part? Because Biden was a moderate.
Biden is a moderate.
Yeah.
And it's showing in the people he's already bringing onto his cabinet. Or at least saying he's going to bring onto his cabinet.
Nominees, he calls them.
There we go. That's the word. See, my vocabulary is a little flawed.
But here's my question, though. Like, why would you call your own picks nominees? Like, what does that mean?
Well, it's a governmental process. Because they still have to get
okay.
Kind of like sworn in and voted in.
Got it.
So he has the power to bring them through the door. It's up to them to withstand the beating that comes with it to take that, I guess, sash of honor. I was going to say Medal of Honor, but it's not a Medal of Honor. It's like a sash of honor. Or Title of Honor, rather.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I think for the AOC, it is their job to try to push their ways and their beliefs and the beliefs of the people that elected them. Will it happen? I don't know. They've been pushing the same agenda since they got in. Has much happened? Good amount. But has anything meaningful happened? We'll see. Now that they do have, I guess, more control, actually, more things may get done. And I think that's the beauty of our system, is that it's pretty much a two-party system that swings every 4 to 8 years. And it's like a tug-of-war match. Trump did an amazing job in bringing it over to the red side, if you're a red supporter. I say amazing. And it's Biden's job to bring it back to the middle, whether that be more on the Democratic or the blue side. We'll see what happens. I haven't been reading up on it, man. I don't know how much Trump has fucked everything up for Biden's table yet, or how much he's messed it up.
Yeah, I know we were touching on this last time with a lot of those executive orders.
Yeah.
Like pulling out troops from Afghanistan, I think by January's end. Just putting Biden in a tough spot with a lot of different situations. And I think some of these executive orders, they can't easily be overturned like in one day. I think sometimes it takes like a year-long review process to actually overturn some of these actions. So it's a bit unfortunate that Biden has to deal with this bullshit from day one. But, it is what it is. I think Trump's time in the Oval Office will certainly be marred by this very unpleasant exit.
Childish.
A very childish, unceremonious exit. I wonder, though, do you think he'll actually shake his hand? Do you think Trump will shake Biden's hand on Inauguration Day? Or will Biden... I know, like, ultimately, in the grand scheme of things, it's really irrelevant. But, we always have that image of the outgoing president and, the first lady, shaking hands or, welcoming warmly to the White House the incoming president. That's always been the case, right?
Yeah.
You go back generations. But now there's some doubt to whether or not Trump will even show up that day.
Yeah, the lack of professionalism is unquestioned when you bring up Trump. The expectations that we have on our president, they're high, because obviously we see him as the leader of the damn free world. I don't think Trump gives two shits about that. I don't think he cares about those expectations, and that's why some people like him so much. He is a pioneer in the respect of breaking expectations and rules set forth, breaking political demeanor, wherever we thought should have been kind of accepted. So whether or not he shakes Biden's hand, who knows? It'll make for a story either way.
Sure. We'll be talking about it on the podcast.
And it's like, fuck it. Like, if he doesn't want to shake his hand, then that's fine. Biden doesn't need that shit. Nor does our country need that shit to worry about. We got work to do, so let's get it done. Who cares about these?
That's right. You bring up a great point. Too often, we focus on the little things that are truly trivial in nature and don't really matter at all in the larger scheme of things. Something that does matter a lot to all of us, and even our listeners out there, is the status of the vaccine for COVID-19. That is right. That is right. And of course, there's been a couple of leading candidates out there. One from Moderna.
There we go.
A company whose stock I wish I held on to.
Hey, I was saying, I think I was the one that suggested that to you. I'm just throwing it out there when we first talked about it. I'm just throwing it out there.
Moving on, there's also there's also Pfizer. Pfizer seems to be the big one right now, powerhouse. And also, our boys across the pond, they're doing their thing. AstraZeneca, in conjunction with Oxford Union. Shout out to Oxford Student Journal, by the way. Those boys and girls are doing a phenomenal job. Writing articles by night, vaccine by day. They're doing a great job. They're doing a great job out there. So I think what's happening in the UK for the vaccine is they're rolling it out this week. I think they got about, is it 20 or 40 million doses of the vaccine for like as many people who are willing to take it, I think, over there.
Well, I think they're in the UK.
In the UK, yeah. So they made like a huge order from Pfizer, and so they're starting the doses, I think, this week. We'll find out shortly what it's like. I know a lot of people, and this is how basic psychology, basic human nature works. I think people are apprehensive about taking the vaccine, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
It is not a guaranteed cure. It is not a guaranteed prevention mechanism. There's a lot of doubt. There's a lot of long-term side effects that could happen that we don't know.
Sure.
But it always helps when you see other people do something, right? We have the herd mentality. When we see other people take something and they're looking okay, they're doing their thing, even if it's just a short-term review, you think, you know what? I should take it too. I feel more confident knowing that my neighbor took it, knowing that my friends across the pond took it. So we shall see. With December 2nd, they're probably injecting their veins with the vaccine as we speak. I'm curious.
I don't think it goes directly into the bloodstream, but okay.
Well, I wasn't a doctor to begin with. The doctor is the D, and so he can always correct me on
D.
Slippery. I love how the doctor says, like that level of professionalism.
This is why I'm not a doctor.
We don't say the truth on the podcast, dog. We don't say the truth in the podcast. In any case, the vaccine is pumping out of Pfizer.
And I think the U.S. is slated to come sometime soon thereafter.
That's right.
With our healthcare workers getting, I guess, first dibs on the vaccine.
Sir.
Rightfully
That's
so.
Right.
And thank God I'm not a healthcare worker, because it frightens me. This vaccine. It was rushed through the scientific process. I trust these companies, but at the end of the day, they had a big buck to make in being first to market. And I mean, I don't think the vaccine will cause immediate fatal reactions for many people. I think it's been shown to have like 95% efficacy. But at the same time, these long-term effects, I don't know what's gone into the formula of these vaccines. And I believe Pfizer's requires some crazy amount of refrigeration and use. Like, the shelf life is crazy short. Which,
I heard like you have to get dry ice to ship it anywhere. So
dry ice, you got to keep it under a certain temperature for a prolonged period of time, and then on top of that, you got to shoot them up as quickly as you get it. To me, it's just race after race after race, and there are some races in this life that I'm not willing to rush through. In this case,
I hear you.
You know,
I totally understand. Now, I want to get your doctor's medical opinion on something about this vaccine. So, if I were to, let's say, have the ability to take all three, AstraZeneca, Pfizer, and Moderna, and I did take all three, what would be the repercussions of doing that?
I don't think they're well. Without knowing the specifics,
Yes.
and if I could speak in general terms,
of course.
and we're gonna say it's just 3 different vaccines, right?
Yes.
There are different modalities by which a vaccine vaccinates and protects people, and they usually take a mechanism that the virus takes to proliferate in the human body and protect the human body from that proliferation. These modes by which they proliferate, meaning they get into the human body and enter a human cell and begin expanding that way, can vary. Sometimes it's from a leg of the virus, sometimes it's from a different arm in the virus, or sometimes it's just the chemical makeup of the environment that the virus is in by which they can easily access these human cells. If the 3 vaccines tackle different modalities of entrance to the human cell, you may have a higher strength, a higher barrier for the vaccine to proliferate. But is it necessary? No, because if one of the vaccines does what's intended and stops one of the 3 modalities, whether it be the arm, leg, or environment, just some examples of what it may be, you should be fine. There is not really an additive effect when it comes to vaccines. There are some vaccines that we have out there where there are certain steps, but that's just to ramp up the immune system for a particular modality or human operation within the body that strengthens that sort of stimulus response action. Taking 3 different vaccines would not be doing that. You'd kind of be taking a shotgun approach, whereas one bullet does the trick.
That's a very, very clear, crystal clear analysis of what I asked. So very good. Thank you for answering that question.
Sure. I still don't trust it though. I wouldn't do it, man. I don't. There may be mercury in that shit. There may be something I'm allergic to within that, right? There's a lot of vaccines that are made with eggs sometimes, raw egg, and some people are allergic to it. Who knows what these people... Is Pfizer in Ireland? I forget where they're at. I'm assuming they did it with
German.
Scotch. It's a German brand?
Was it a German company? Let me
Let's look that up. Let's look that up.
Pfizer. Pfizer is an American multinational pharmaceutical corporation.
Are they really? No, but where are they headquartered?
That's a good question.
Oh, New York. Hey, check that out. Wait, what was I thinking? What was that?
No. I think we were on the right page. I think there's some kind of a... No, their headquarters is in New York?
Well, Pfizer, I think, moved a lot of their stuff to Ireland. I'm looking into it.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think the majority of it's over there, overseas. Just so that they could, basically tax evade. Sorry, Pfizer, but it's true.
Yes.
But there may be stuff in there that is detrimental to some people, and again, this is a vaccine that seems to have been developed in less than a year, and it's goddamn scary that they're going to be injecting this across millions and millions and millions of lives. Hopefully, at the very least, they don't force vaccinations onto the mothers of unborn babies yet, because who knows of those side effects. But at the same time, as a man of science, you and I are, there's a fear, but ultimately, if offered to me, I'd probably take it.
I want to delve a little bit deeper onto this one.
Sure.
Just with one question. Do you think this vaccine should be something that's kind of like necessary for every citizen to take, or
No.
should it be something that's just up to you if you want
Optional.
to take it? Really?
Yeah.
Really?
I'm not a fan of telling people what to do with their life,
Ah.
especially if it's intrusive of their bodies. If there is no guarantee that doing this will be of benefit, and there is no guarantee that you will not get harmed, then yeah, I could see forcing it onto someone. But because there is that lack of guarantee, no, I'm not for it.
Fair. I think that's a respectable view. I think a lot of people, they take the, a common, not to really point fingers at you, but a common conservative talking point is basically to say that, people are responsible for their own lives and they can decide their own destinies. They can choose what they want to do with themselves. As long as they're not hurting anybody else,
Yep.
they should be able to have the liberty, the freedom to do what they want, right?
Yeah, no, completely.
And that's a fair perspective, and especially for the reasons you mentioned, like there's no guarantee that this will work for you, right?
Yeah, it hasn't been proven, like MMR vaccines and things of that sort that we've taken as children before we even had a say. We know rather, it prevents these plagues of our past from ever occurring. Bubonic plague came back like temporarily a couple years back. It's kind of scary.
Was it like in an animal or something, like some kind of a?
Yeah, usually they're sourced from rats.
Oh.
Yeah. But that's why the streets of London were plagued with rats, where the bubonic plague was running rampant.
Well, the streets of London can be pretty crazy, and they are plagued with rats and all these different creatures out there. I've certainly been there back in the day, but have you ever wondered what it would be like to just roam the streets of another planet?
Huh.
A planet like Mars, even. I mean, granted, I've never been, and Don, I doubt that you have been yet.
Depends.
At least
depends on what I was smoking, but
Well, you've been to the moon plenty of times, then I imagine.
Me and Kid Cudi go way back.
There you go. Men on the Moon, the unreleased mixtape, Men on the Moon. So
I didn't make the feature. Damn it.
He didn't make any of the features. He didn't even make the liner notes. He was just left off entirely. Just a groupie.
Never texted me back.
Never texted. But I sometimes wonder what life might be like on Mars, and I kind of like to imagine a future, a kind of a interesting scenario, if you will, where Mars could be turned into a casino. And that's actually the topic of episode 3 of a very special series that we like to watch. But why don't you go ahead, Don, and cue up the song so they know what's up.
Yes, sir.
Are we doomed to a cold and heartless future in which computer says yes or computer says no, with the grim finality of an emperor in the arena?
Strong words. Gets me every time, man. Those chords, the twang, it gets me every time. This bourbon hits nicely with that twang. It's delicious.
I'm glad to hear that. And we have been a little bit behind.
Hey, we're catching up. We're catching up.
Usual routine. Cowboy Bebop is a series that Don and I are quickly growing fond of after just a few episodes.
Very true.
And we decided strategically to talk about both episodes 3 and 4 together. Primarily because we were noticing a trend, right? I think from episode 2, we saw a new member join the crew, which was the adorable Corgi, the adorable Welsh Corgi, who now has a name. Now, Don, let me test your memory a little bit. This name was mentioned by Jet, I believe, in episode 3.
Yuzu.
It's not Yuzu. Yuzu would have been a great name. That, of course, is the name of Don's puppy. But no, the name is Ein, E-I-N, Ein, which is a very curious name. I've never heard that used for any pet before, let alone a human being. But the dog's name is Ein, and I'm sure we'll figure out more about the dog as we continue. But that was episode 2. in episode 3, we meet somebody who is a very interesting character. Her name is Faye Valentine, a wanted criminal who has basically been in debt for some time. She owes people a lot of money, a lot of money. And she gets caught up into this scheme with this casino owner who agreed to basically wipe the debt clean if she could do this one thing. If she could pretend to be a dealer on the casino floor and give this special chip, a special poker chip that has a computer chip inside, to some kind of a mark, a target that would come to the table, essentially lose all of his money, and then the last chip would be, I guess it worked the other way. So the chip would be received by Faye. I think now that it's
Yes.
jogging my memory.
Yes.
Yeah. So the mark would come through, and the very last chip you would give to the dealer as a tip
Yep.
would actually be that special chip.
Yep.
And this was kind of like a big cover up, right? I think they didn't want to make it too obvious, so they thought, okay, if he loses the chip this way, then the authorities won't be all over the case. But something interesting happens. Of course, our favorite duo, Spike and Jet, they're at the casino as well. They're trying to track down somebody for a bounty. And they encounter Faye. Spike just sits down and starts playing. And Faye, checks her monitor real quick. And she's like, well, the image is a little bit grainy, but it looks like this is the guy. So she mistakes Spike for the mark. She thinks Spike is a target. And so Spike, plays and plays and plays. And Faye's cheating, of course. So Spike loses all of his chips. And at the very end, Faye kind of opens out her hand like, all right, now's the time. This is where I can get off clean. But Spike's like, adios. See you later.
Yeah.
Does not give him a dealer's chip or anything like that. And so he runs off, and then Faye follows him. And then you realize, oh, here comes the real mark. Here comes the real target, the lookalike for Spike. And they bump into each other, exchanging a regular poker chip that Spike had with the special computer chip that this mark had. And this is a very common thing you've probably noticed. Spike is really good at the sleight of hands, right? Like he can fish into a criminal's pocket like Asimov Solensan and recover that red-eye drug right when he's not thinking. And similarly, in this case, I think they did that flippity-flip. Coincidentally, it just kind of happened. And they went on from there. But man, I just got to say, isn't it wild to see a casino on Mars #1, but also have it be so epic, like all those gateways surrounding the planet and all the people there. You think it's pretty much Las Vegas in space, but what did you think of that episode so far, man?
I think it was a good episode. It developed a little bit more character or some more context of the characters, some more personality amongst the characters. If we were to kind of build off of that premise of a casino on Mars, makes total sense to me. If there's people that are evading taxes already in just one country, why not go to a goddamn another planet and make it happen, right? What was it? If you go a certain distance in the water to international waters, you can pretty much do anything you want because there's no laws that regulate it. Why not just go to a whole different planet where no one can do anything and you're not guided by earthly values and earthly law? I see it happening. And with all those gateways and stuff, well, with all that gambling going on and house always winning, of course you're going to have the money to make that happen. Not surprised. See it happen. Elon, take notes, buddy.
I mean, so moving a little bit forward into the episode, I think Faye Valentine's character, let's talk about her for a little bit. What do you think of her?
Solid haircut.
Solid haircut.
Solid.
It's all right. The haircut's all right.
Solid
I think
haircut.
It's
like an A cut, man. It's an A cut, meaning short in the back, kind of longer in the front, but not too long. I think Rihanna ran it for a while, and that's when it became hot. So I was like, oh, well, check that out. Faye was running it back in the 90s. So you get kudos to Faye, not Rihanna. Just saying.
She was the originator of the A cut for sure. Of course, Faye Valentine, she is a voluptuous femme fatale character with
very strong
hair. very, very strong character and badass, I would have to say.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, definitely.
not only does she, she is a criminal, a career criminal, it seems like, but she knows her way around the ship. Like, she has her own little, ship, kind of like Spike does, and she's able to maneuver really well. And it's all decked out with weaponry and everything, so she can get herself out of a jam if necessary. She seems like she can hold her own. She can steal from the right people. She can talk to almost anybody. She can get away with almost any crime. And when she actually got away at the end of episode 3, I was like, huh, interesting. It's the first time we saw in the first 3 episodes somebody not get captured by the police or not get captured by Jet. And I thought to myself, she's got to be coming back. The way that Spike looked back at the twinkling star, from the sky, like I think he knew that this is probably not the last we've seen of her. And that's why it made perfect sense to watch episode 4 and talk about it as well, because in episode 4, titled Gateway Shuffle, Faye actually returns. And it's partly because she's out of gas.
Mm-hmm.
Her ship is like just stranded, can't really go anywhere, running on fumes, and she's out of food as well because she stole all the food from the Bebop on her way out. And the last ship that actually pays her any attention is the Bebop. She runs into the very people that she was running away from in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
So, she kind of invites herself back into the good graces of the crew. But at the same time, the duo is dealing with a brand new criminal. And why don't you go ahead and tell the audience a little bit about this new criminal gang that came up in episode 4?
I'm gonna let you do it. Go for it, man.
All right, I will. So just imagine PETA, right? Imagine PETA just like 1,000 years in the future.
Sure.
And really, really crazy. Like, they all have guns. It's PETA with guns, essentially. And they're led by this super old lady who they call Mom. All right. And the closest equivalent I can think of, Don, I don't know if you've seen the show Futurama.
I have.
You have. Okay, so do you remember there was actually a old lady there who was called Mom?
Yeah, pink. Wore pink.
Did she? Purple. I think purple, black.
Or like a pastel-y sort of thing.
Sure thing. And she had the crazy hair as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, she had this outward appearance, especially whenever she did those commercials for her robot factory, that she was, there's good old Mom, Moms always know best, that kind of thing. But then whenever the cameras turned off and she took off her like suit or whatever, she was a total bee. Like, oh my gosh, she would just boss around her employees, literally slap her employees in the face. And she was just a very nasty, nasty character. And I kind of got that vibe watching this kind of crazy, eccentric lady who's the leader of this little PETA-like group supporting some kind of animal. Like, they really love one particular animal that's being overfished, and they're trying to make world governments change their policies so that they don't, cause the animal to go extinct. But in the process, they're also kind of like very radical in their approach. They were threatening to unleash this virus, which was very topical, by the way, because all we talk about is COVID. But they're threatening to unleash this virus that can turn humans into primates, right? Like, going back to the evolutionary cycle, all the way back to the days of where we were all just primates. And, she was threatening to do this, unleashing it on the world. And she even did it on one of her own people. I think somebody had disobeyed her at some juncture, and to set an example, she turned this dude into a monkey, which was absolutely wild. So she's a ruthless villain for sure, and she carries a lot of clout. She was initially captured by Spike and Jet, but she had to be let go because they erased the bounty. There was so much influence from her radical group on the government that the government was like, all right, we gotta erase the bounty, let her go. But as soon as they did, the bounty was back on, and it became like this mad dash through hyperspace, which is a part I think, Don, you really liked when Faye was helping Spike, trying to go after.
No, that was one of the best scenes in my opinion, where they start negotiating the split of the prize, right? And then what was it? Spike is like, no, we don't need it. I can do this all myself. And then Faye's like, no, I'll help you out, You're going to need me, 50-50, And then Spike goes, all right, fine, 60-40. And then Faye says, all right, cool, you got 40. Like, that, to me, that was just, like, boss move. Like, you're fucked, and I'm gonna take whatever I can, and, you know, I was planning on joining you guys anyways, but I'm still gonna reap most of the benefit wherever I can. And then Jet's just like, yeah, fuck it, go. You can have it. You know, like, Spike doesn't know what he's talking about. Fuck it, go save my guy. You know? Like, that little, what was it, maybe like 10 seconds of story to me was great, because you could put yourself in each of their shoes at that point.
Sure. Absolutely.
And respect each of their opinions. For whatever reason. It's good. It was good.
I mean, I agree. Don and I, we both enjoyed that scene so much. And of course, the whole idea was the hyperspace gate was closing.
Yep.
And so they had a very limited amount of time to get out of there.
Yep.
It was essentially Spike and Faye in the front being actually chased by the ship with all the criminals on it. But being chased by PETA. And PETA was unleashing a barrage of missiles. And these weren't normal missiles, man. These were like it would be one warhead that opens up into like 20 warheads.
Oh yeah, it's like Call of Duty airstrikes, man. It's the ones you don't want. It's like the perfect kill streak where you're like, well, how the fuck did he get? All right, I guess this game's over. Yeah, it was like one of those.
It was like one of those, and so when they realized they were being chased by that, there was no way but to just run, right? And the gate was closing, and they just got through while the gate closed on PETA.
Yeah.
And so PETA, not only did they have the ill fortune of being trapped in hyperspace, but the vaccine, the canister of vaccine that, you know, maybe the lady thought that Spike was still holding on to, Spike, with a sleight of hand again, slipped it back into the pocket of the old lady on her way out of the ship. And so when the ship was like bobbling around and rattling, the virus just popped out of her her satchel, and it exploded into the air effectively. I mean, we presume turning them all into monkeys, which was very just desserts, if you ask me. Very fitting ending to PETA. Because PETA sometimes gets a little crazy with the regulations of movies.
I like PETA, man. It's good, you know.
PETA's good, man.
Throw
a little chicken
on
in there,
it.
right? There you go. Hold on, guys. I see what you did. But yeah, no. I am loving episode 3 and 4. I thought they were great additions to this series, and I'm looking forward to seeing how Faye fits in with Spike and Jet, because now Faye's like, I guess, officially a crew member. She invited herself in, and Spike didn't seem to like it at first, but you know what, I get the feeling that Spike is always this way. You know, whenever there's something new in his life, whether it's a dog or whatever, a child, or Faye in this case, he's like, I don't want to work with her. Oh man, not her, not this. But in his heart of hearts, I think he genuinely cares about people, and he may have a kind of a rough and tumble demeanor, but inside, I think he'll find that he'll appreciate Faye. And Faye also is kind of like that. They could be, you know, two sides of the same cheek, or what's the word? Two cheeks of the same arse. I think that's the expression. A better expression is probably two sides of the same coin. I think a more common one is two sides of the same coin. So let's go with that one.
I like that, two cheeks of the same arse.
Jesus Christ. Jesus. Is that going to be the title?
I love it. I love it. It better be.
It better be the title. I'll work on that tonight for sure. But yeah, so I think Faye may show that she's kind of outwardly a career criminal and knows her way around everything, but I think she has a heart too. I think she realizes that maybe Spike and Jet, yes, they're bounty hunters, but they're good people. And maybe Jet sees that too. I actually think Jet, you know, he revealed a little bit of information about himself, right? He was like a former kind of a covert operator. He was part of some agency, and he's done a lot of the, you know, the field work before. And that probably explains some of his scars and his half mechanical appearance. He's been through the trenches, and so he's seen a lot. He knows a lot, and he has the wisdom that I think Spike lacks. But that's the type of leader you need to carry on this venture.
Like the
to
Morpheus.
Yeah, like a Morpheus type. Exactly. I think Morpheus is a great analogy in the Matrix Revelations, in the Matrix world, to tie to Cowboy Bebop. And maybe Spike could be a Neo.
One? You sure it's not Ein?
Hey, could be. Ein could be the one as well.
No, because Ein translates to one.
Oh, in German?
Yeah.
Ah. That's actually really interesting. I was wondering what the Ein could stand
Yeah, it
for.
could be
Maybe it
that,
is
or it
German
could
for
be
one.
Einstein, because he's such a smart little dog.
Bro, I think you hit it. I think that's what it is actually, because he's supposed to be a super dog, right? Some
Yeah.
kind of like weird super dog. But that would mean that they know now he's a super dog, right? Because before they were under the impression that he's just a regular Welsh corgi that's
Could
going to
be.
tag along.
They may not have the technology to harness that data yet. Who knows?
Who knows?
I take him.
But
He's a cool dog, man. He called out Faye when she was escaping. I thought he was a loyal dog. Hell yeah.
he's doing his thing for sure, and I appreciate loyalty. And just like I appreciate the loyalty of our fans, they tune in time and time again, and they ask us, "Hey, where's the episode?" And we will let you know the episode is coming. It's always coming. It's always on the way. And so, you know, the Cowboy Bebop saga will continue. We will hopefully be able to provide you another recap next week. Not going to tell you how many episodes, but hopefully we'll be able to do that. And until next time, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, we will see you on the other side. Take care.
Two cheeks, same side. Arse.